academically, I would have chosen science, maybe something like forensics. I know that sounds weird, but I find it really fascinating how you can know from like blood splatter patterns and all of that gory stuff how somebody died. I find it fascinating to watch. Having saying that, had I be doing it, maybe I couldn't cope, but I'll move on. Right. If you weren't famous now, would you ever consider entering the X Factor? No. When I did it back in 2002 with Pop Stars The Rivals, it wasn't as scary, I don't think, and it wasn't as widely known. Like, there'd only been one pop idol and one other Pop Stars, which wasn't live, it was the Hearsay program. So I don't think I quite knew what I was letting myself in for at the time that I did my audition. And now that there's a live audience and stuff in your first audition, I think that answer would have to be no. I don't think I would put myself out there. So that was from Becky. Thanks, Becky. From Ryan, have you ever had the urge move swiftly on? Right, this is from Ahmed Morton. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Do any of the contestants remind you of yourself at that stage? I think all of the contestants at some point remind me of myself or how I felt at that stage. You can just see it in certain points. I wouldn't say anyone specifically. Joe reacted really similarly to what I did when he was told he was in the final. I think that's probably like a northeast mentality thing. But no, I can definitely see in some of them how I felt back then. So yeah, I can relate to them at most points. This is from Rohan. How does it feel to be a role model to millions of fans out there? I find that really tough question to answer. I've been asked quite a lot recently, and I am fully aware that I've got a massive responsibility, and you know, from letters and stuff that I receive, that people do look up to what I do, so I try to take that responsibility very seriously. But yeah, I find it a bit overwhelming at times, and I just hope that whatever I'm doing, whether I am doing something good and people can aspire to be doing that, or whether I am making mistakes, which I'm sure at some stage I will do, and bad choices, that people also learn from that too, because nobody always does the right things all the time.
We have a question from the chat. What was your favourite outfit from the Fight for This Love video?
I think my favourite outfit from Fight for This Love would have to be the military jacket look. I found it really strong, and it represented what I wanted it to on the video. So it would be the military look, and that's why I tried to incorporate that, you know, that look into my performances and stuff, because I feel like that's the one that gives off the most of what the song is about, that fighting spirit and that strength. So thank you for that. We'll do the next one? Yeah? Right, from Meg. Hi Meg. Could you give me some advice on where I should start out? I started out in my bedroom with a brush, so it's a good place. Yeah, you should definitely start with yourself and the music that you love until you feel comfortable enough to maybe send out demos, or, you know, a lot of people don't have the facilities to be able to do that. When I was starting out, I had a management company in Newcastle, a small management company that would take me to little venues. Like, there's a place in Newcastle called Metroland, and I used to perform there on a weekend. So I was lucky enough to have that kind of backing. So if you can get, maybe even if it is just a small independent management, or you have some sort of a device to send out a demo, you know, start at the very beginning. You've got to walk before you can run. But good luck with everything, Meg. I hope it works out.
We've got another question from the live chat. Remember to include your names But we go on here. Do you recognise people in the crowd on your tour?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do, actually. It's always quite funny, especially when you see, if some of them have come to like 4 or 5 gigs, and you see them on each gig, you definitely recognise them. Especially, you know, the hardcore. I know you hardcore girls are out there, and I've seen you for years, so I definitely recognise you if it's come from one of you lot. If not, yeah, I recognise people. And then I see them sometimes other places, and I'm like, oh, hi, Hannah, and she's like, you know my name? But yeah, I do have a good memory. What made you want to be an X Factor judge? From Natalie. I've found that watching people grow, if you like, and helping bring out other people's talents is as much of a buzz as doing it yourself. And that is the reason I absolutely love being an X Factor judge. Initially I wanted to do it because I felt like I could help, because out of everybody I was the one that had been in that position, and that drew me to wanting to do it initially. But now I just absolutely love the buzz of being part of making somebody's dream. It's nothing quite the same as that feeling. Oh, I've gone backwards, sorry. Would you consider doing a version of the X Factor in Zimbabwe? There is so much hidden talent here. From Trish. I'd say why not, Trish? If I was approached to do Zimbabwe's Got the X Factor, I'd do it. Why not? And I'm sure there is a lot of talent there. There's a lot of hidden talent all over the place.
We have another live question from the chat. Chris asks, who have you been most starstruck by?
I would have said Beyonce. I turned into an absolute fool when I seen her. They couldn't speak properly. Really embarrassed myself. But then I went a step further when I seen Jay-Z the other week at Wembley. I was backstage and I could see him coming towards us. And I don't know whether it's because I'd wound myself up for like 2 days thinking, wow, I'm going to watch Jay-Z perform, or the fact that he just had got this presence when he approaches you. But I started screaming, there's Jay-Z, and turned my back on him. So yeah, a little bit starstruck and also very embarrassing. And yeah, Jay-Z must have thought I was slightly weird, but it's fine. I let him off. Okay. Who was your inspiration whilst you were growing up? I can't, when I get asked that question, I can't really seem to think of one person that I would say was an inspiration. I used to love watching all their back in the day programs like Smash Hits and all of that, and just thinking, wow, that's what I want to do. And I suppose you get inspiration from everywhere, you know, every type of artist inspires you. On a personal level, I would say my mother. So yeah.
Got another question from the chat. Kieran Bryan asks, what song makes you feel better on a sad day?
Oh, that's a good question. I think pop music makes you feel better on a sad day. But no, it depends what mood I'm in. I tend to have sad albums as opposed to sad songs. So I would put on an upbeat album. Yeah, I love Beyonce's album. B-Day always gets me in a good mood. Still now, that whole album. Yeah, I've got like a thing at my house which is called a jukebox, and it's just a button that I press and I can put random songs on. Just music in general, I think, lifts your spirit. Very powerful.